Stand by for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Coming next. Last time on Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Frieza got dead. Or did he?
By the way, this is part 3 of my Kakarot retrospective. You can find links to part 1 and 2 in the description. Okay, so before we get into the Cell Saga, the answer is no. No, the game does not cover the whole Garlic Jr. shenanigans, which also means we don't get to see Krillin in his awesome suit, or get a girlfriend.
Beta bear!
It has been over a year and a half since the battle with Frieza, and despite the fact that Goku has not yet returned, there has been no disruption to the peace on Earth. During this time, King Cold discovers that his son Frieza has survived the disaster that occurred on planet Namek. King Cold then decides to enhance Frieza with cybernetic components. The two tyrants then journey to Earth to begin their revenge. As King Cold and Frieza arrive on Earth, their presence sends shockwaves through the planet. The Z fighters, sensing the impending danger, gather to confront the powerful duo and protect their home once again. In the presence of such tremendous foes, Gohan, Vegeta and the others are left powerless. However, a mysterious young man wielding a sword arrives, seemingly out of nowhere.
The mysterious savior from the future.
With a few swift sword strokes, he takes out all of Frieza's soldiers and then transforms into a Super Saiyan.
Oh no!
All of the ki and auras look amazing, and paired up with the fast-paced and impactful animations, fights not only look great but feel great to play. It also helps that the game runs at a buttery smooth 60 FPS on the PS5 version, which is the version I'm playing. I think that the PS5 version also has some graphical improvements, but this is the only version I've played, so I wouldn't be able to point them out. Actually, I know I just said that the game runs at a smooth 60 FPS, and this is true for the overwhelming majority of the game, but I did notice that the game would sometimes freeze up after completing story missions. But this only started happening in the Cell Saga. This was not happening during the first half of the game. I have no idea why it started doing this. Is it a PS5 thing? Is it a game thing? I don't know. All of the footage was captured in performance mode, which prioritizes a smooth frame rate, which in my opinion makes the game look way better than any high poly count or higher res textures ever could. The game also loads super fast too. Almost to the point that you can't even really read the loading screens that recap what is going on in the story. You still get a glimpse at the cool artwork though. The battle animations are nice and snappy, and I especially like the way the characters move as they dodge quickly through the sky. Frequent use of speed lines and other effects like that really adds to the excellent game feel.
Frieza! Boom!
The young warrior also brings about King Cold's demise with a powerful blast.
Bam! Pow!
When Gohan and the others meet the mysterious man, they don't know if he is friend or foe at first, but they soon learn that he knows exactly when and where Goku is going to arrive. When Goku does eventually touch down, the young man has a private conversation with him and evaluates his strength as a Super Saiyan. Characters will change outfits as the game goes through the various story arcs. They even include Vegeta's pink Badman shirt that you get the chance to run around in before fully beginning the Cell Saga. It's just a shame that the game doesn't let you pick the outfit that your character wears as you're free roaming around the world. I get why they're locked when you go through the main story, as they want to maintain continuity with the source material, and also because there are pre-rendered cutscenes. But even after completing the main story, the game still does not allow you to pick your character's outfit. It's dumb. Allowing you to choose a character's outfit would add an extra layer of enjoyment and make the game feel more tailored to your individual preferences. Additionally, they could have been used as rewards for completing certain challenges or side quests. The young man, fully convinced that Goku can be trusted, identifies himself as Trunks, claiming to be the future child of Bulma and Vegeta. He explains that he has travelled back in time to warn them about the impending threat of the androids. In his future timeline, the androids have already defeated all of Earth's strongest fighters. He emphasizes the urgency of their preparation, as the androids' power far surpass anything that they have ever faced before. The androids will emerge in 3 years' time on the 12th of May at 10 AM. After Trunks informs Goku of the androids, he provides him with the medication he will need to overcome the heart virus from which he'll suffer in the near future. Before embarking on his trip back, Trunks states that he'll return in 3 years' time to help the warriors fight the androids. Goku then relays all of this information to the others. Well, not all of the information. Piccolo, being the wise and intuitive Namekian, understands the gravity of the situation and immediately realizes the importance of keeping Trunks' existence a secret. Together, the warriors devise a meticulous training regime to confront the android threat head-on.
On the hunt for the androids.
Goku and the others go their separate ways to prepare for the fight now that they are aware of the coming threat and the dreadful future that the androids may bring about. Going against Chi-Chi's desires, Gohan trains alongside Goku and Piccolo, and despite the fact that Goku has just made it home and was supposed to be helping Gohan train, he decides first to go off and help Korin. Because of course he does. Korin requires help in gathering materials so that he can cultivate sensu beans. After completing this mission, you will have access to sensu beans which you can gather from Korin after a certain amount of time. He can hold up to 9 at a time, so just remember to visit Korin's tower every now and then to pick them up. Sensu beans are usually the best healing item in Dragon Ball Z games, and they still technically are. It's just that the item system is rather flawed, and being able to simply spam healing items over and over again diminishes the value of the sensu beans. Vegeta, aware of the widening distance between himself and Goku, decides to go to Dr. Briefs and make him create a gravity chamber just like the one on the spaceship that Goku used to train on his way to planet Namek. That was a really long sentence. Vegeta believes that training in the gravity chamber will help him bridge the gap between himself and Goku. He hopes that by pushing his limits in the environment with increased gravity, he can finally become a Super Saiyan. Even though training in higher gravity is more than likely just going to make your guts fall out of your ass, then make you stronger. And that's science. Apparently I'm a scientist now. As Vegeta puts himself through a grueling training regime, it brings him closer to Bulma in the process.
Shut up, woman!
I like that Kakarot actually tries to fill in what might have happened in the anime during the time skips. When you do find out that Bulma and Vegeta are together, it's kind of like, what? Although Vegeta is better than he was at the end of the Saiyan saga, his character arc is by no means complete. It's only in the Buu saga that you kind of get it. But maybe that's why Bulma is a super genius. Her ability to see potential in Vegeta is a testament to her character and her belief in his growth. Despite his flaws, she recognizes the changes he has undergone and sees the potential for a deeper connection between them. Or something like that, something deep like that. So far, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot has left out a lot of filler seen in the anime, so I really wasn't sure if they were going to include the driving episode. A filler episode that is a fan favourite of the series, and surprise surprise, they decided to include it. Despite it being one of my favourite filler episodes, I think it was a bad idea to include it, simply because the driving mechanics that they had to construct in order to include it was a waste of development time. All you have to do in this mission is to drive the hover car through the checkpoints and get to the finish line before time runs out. After passing the driving test, you'll be able to build and upgrade a vehicle by speaking with Bulma at Capsule Corp. You need both Zenny and parts to build a vehicle. You're probably wondering where you're going to get all these parts that you need to make a vehicle. Some of the components can be purchased at material shops around the world, while others can be obtained from random NPCs. Once you have the car, you can upgrade it to make it faster and better at mineral scanning. The car's default speed is so slow compared to running and flying that it feels pointless. It needs so many upgrades to be even remotely enjoyable to drive. Only adult characters are able to drive the car, so basically everyone aside from Gohan when he's a kid can drive. Your vehicle has a feature that will scan the area and point out mineral resources, although this feature seems redundant because these deposits are already visible on the mini-map, and there are cartographers you can hire to highlight mineral deposits on your map. Their services are also more practical and less expensive. There are racing mini-games available, but the cars don't handle that well, and I didn't have much fun with them. I done like 2 races, okay? It's like, I'm done. Is me done? Aside from the little driving distraction, the majority of this chapter is spent following the Z fighters in their training. It is also in this chapter that we gain access to the training room. It can be found at Capsule Corp and it is run by Android 21. Actually, I'm not sure if she is an android at this point, and the story doesn't really go into that aspect. So if you want to find out more about the story of Android 21, you should watch my Dragon Ball FighterZ video. How's that for a plug? I usually forget to add those in. Anyway, back to the training room. There are multiple levels to the training rooms that you must spend quite a bit of zenny in order to access, but the skills you will unlock are more than worth it. These are the mastery skills that I talked about earlier. They are the best passive buffs that you can get for characters. The good thing about the training room is once you have the level unlocked, you don't need any additional resources to play them. While the skills you unlock in the training room are the same for every character, you will need to do the training for each individual character and unlock them on their skill tree, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, it makes more sense that just because one character learns a skill doesn't magically mean everyone else knows it, but I do think they could have streamlined this a little bit. Another and more common way to learn moves is through the training grounds. These spots are placed all around the overworld. The training grounds are where you're able to learn new super attacks by fighting simulated projections of fighters. There are recommended levels for each training session, and you'll also need D medals in order to do them. D medals can be obtained by just finding them when you're exploring the map. They are also given as rewards for completing missions and unlocking Z Encyclopedia entries. The Z Encyclopedia is a comprehensive book with entries on Dragon Ball's story, characters, enemies, items, and more. Collecting entries will give you awards such as D medals as I just mentioned. Story entries have extra info if you want more detail into what is going on. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot does a good job of linking various game mechanics together while also making them optional. If you want to go out of your way to collect more and learn more, you can, but if you just want to blaze through the main story, you can do that too. The Z fighters keep training, and 3 years later, the day Trunks foretold finally arrives. The fighters gather on the island, which is about to be attacked by the androids. Bulma arrives with a child. Except for Goku, everyone is stunned to find out that the father is none other than Vegeta. But before anyone is able to process this information, screams and explosions can be heard from the surrounding town.
The androids attack.
Unfortunately, the presentation of the story really starts to drop as you progress further and further into the game. By the time you hit the Cell Saga, there are less and less of those amazingly animated cutscenes and more stills paired with narration to explain what is going on. There's also a lot of these boxes that pop up against a black screen that explain what happens. It becomes very noticeable that the team may have run out of time and resources, and it really sucks because it starts to show in the Cell Saga, which is my favorite saga. The Dragon Ball Z story is so large, so I'm not surprised that there is a quality drop. The only thing I could think of that CyberConnect could have done to keep the quality would be to do what the Legacy of Goku series did and dedicate a game to each saga. But then I'd probably just complain that they only covered one saga, and yeah, there's just no pleasing me. Goku and the others race to the area, certain that it can only be the androids, but due to the androids' lack of ki, they have difficulty locating them. Yamcha has the misfortune of coming up upon them first, and by the time the others find him, he is already in critical condition. It's always Yamcha. He's always the first to go.
Why is it always me?
While Krillin provides medical care for Yamcha, Goku tries to persuade the androids to accompany him to a more secluded place in hopes of preventing further loss of life. Before any blows are traded, the androids reveal the extensive data that they've collected and the fact that their prime objective is to kill Goku. Goku notes that they don't have any data from his time on Namek, and confident that this gives him the edge, begins to fight Android 19. Dr. Gero created Android 19 to get rid of Goku. And yes, this is kind of a spoiler because you're not supposed to know it's Dr. Gero. And for whatever reason, I don't understand this, Dr. Gero made Android 19 look like a fat, evil mime. Even though canonically Goku is meant to really struggle in this fight, I managed to actually get a super finish. These can occur only if you are transformed and in surge mode, and the finishing blow is a certain super attack. If you meet the requirements, an awesome finishing animation will play. I don't think you get anything extra from triggering it, it just looks cool. Unfortunately, Goku's heart virus begins to take hold. Turning Super Saiyan appears to have accelerated the virus's effects. It is never really revealed exactly how Goku became infected with the virus. Perhaps it was due from consuming too much juice. It is indicative of how powerful Goku had gotten at this point, that he had to die naturally in order for the future timeline to be plausible. Goku's ability to constantly surpass his limits and achieve new levels of power makes it challenging for the series to find a suitable replacement for him. Additionally, his infectious personality and unwavering determination are very endearing, making it even harder to let go of his character. However, the narrative possibilities of exploring new characters and their growth in the absence of Goku could bring a fresh and interesting storylines to the Dragon Ball universe. Just as Goku seems doomed, Vegeta arrives and after revealing that he too can now become a Super Saiyan, goes on to dominate his battle against Android 19.
Take this! Have a taste of Super Vegeta's Big Bang Attack!
Android 20 escapes the battlefield after witnessing his comrades' quick slaughter at the hands of Vegeta.
You can't run from me. Oh, you can.
With Piccolo and the others hot on his tail.
Amplified Android Terror.
Android 20 catches Piccolo off guard and gives him a big hug from behind.
Hey, muscly arm. Why the long face?
Both Android 19 and 20 are capable of absorbing energy with their palms, and this attack is During this fight, he kept getting me from behind. You can't skip the animation either. I was getting so frustrated. Trunks then arrives from the future as promised and is surprised to see Android 19's remains. He's like, why does he look like an evil mime? Why are you killing mimes? You would be after androids. Meanwhile, Android 20 in his desperation reveals the existence of Android. Okay, still laughing. Meanwhile, Android 20 in his desperation reveals the existence of Androids 17 and 18 and manages to escape again. He escapes again.
What? Mother!
Thank you.
Trunks? Trunks? Did he just say Trunks? That's my son's name. Wait, he's from the future. That means...
So you came back, huh?
Yeah. I thought I would come and offer my support. But who were you fighting?
Where is that wrinkly robot?
Why didn't you try and save your wife and child just now?
Foolishness. I have no interest in things like that.
Father of the Year. Bulma rejoins the others and reveals that Android 20 is actually Dr. Gero, which I already spoiled, and that he is likely returning to his laboratory to activate the androids he mentioned. The warriors rush to find Dr. Gero and his lab, hoping to stop the evil scientist and avoid dealing with his even more powerful creations. All of this information is laid out for the player through some very subpar cutscenes. Given the size of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and how much of the story the game actually covers, many scenes and character interactions have very limited animation. Honestly, a lot of them are very bland, and I really do think they could have done a better job at staging these scenes. As there are examples from many other games like The Witcher 3 and even early examples like Mass Effect series that have way better camera and animation work when it is just two characters talking. The camera is always so far away. Some of the standard animation comes across as very robotic, and sometimes the characters will awkwardly twitch. For games like Kakarot, the cutscene animators will usually have a library of animations they can pull from, so they can create a fully animated scene in a reasonable amount of time. Great for quantity, but not necessarily all that great for quality, as there are some scenes that you can clearly tell that they did not have the right animations. Like when Gohan is flying around with Dende. He just looks like he's carrying around a weightless doll. It's actually kind of freaky looking. Also, some animations are just bad or missing. Like, it really bugs me that they didn't bother to animate Frieza's tail. It's just stuck in the same position all the time. There are also a lot of animations where the motion capture just doesn't look good because of the stylized character design paired up with the realistic movements. It just makes it look like someone wearing like a mascot costume, if that makes sense. I don't know how else to explain it. While the animations in the game can be disappointing at times, there are still many visually impressive aspects that make up for these shortcomings. The attention to detail in the character designs and the vibrant environments help to create an immersive experience. A new area has been opened, which can be accessed via the map. To get from one place to another, you must use the world's map. This map is accessible by the Dragon Radar, flying to the edge of the hub area, or flying high into the sky. On the world map, main story missions are represented by red pillars, while the sub-stories are represented by blue pillars. You will get access to more and more regions as you advance through the main story. I really like the snowy atmosphere of this area. It's really cool. The Z Fighters track down the lad, but they are too late, and the 2 new androids are awakened.
Listen to me. You must eliminate Goku's allies. They're coming. That's an order.
Do you hear that? It's an order, 17.
We're not gonna follow a single one of your orders. We're just gonna take care of ourselves now. Geezer.
After destroying their creator, they awaken Android 16 and begin their hunt for Goku. Kakarot reveals a lot more about the androids than what is in the anime or manga. It tries to line up more with the Dragon Ball FighterZ story, which I think is a nice detail. Nice change of pace. Vegeta, eager to test his newfound Super Saiyan power, challenges the androids. The androids don't actually have ki, but infinite energy reserves. This aspect couldn't really be conveyed in many other Dragon Ball Z games, especially in the fighting games, as it would be really unbalanced to get to play a character that can just spam ki attacks as much as they want. As Vegeta engages in battle with the androids, their immense strength and speed prove to be a formidable challenge. Despite his confidence, Vegeta realizes that he may have underestimated the android's power. Android 18 breaks Vegeta's arm, knocking him out cold. Help me. The other Z fighters rush the androids, but they too are easily dispatched. Only Krillin, who was too afraid to fight, escapes unharmed. Krillin tries to convince the androids not to go after Goku, as he has done nothing to them. Android 17 tells Krillin that locating Goku is all just part of the game. Android 16 adds that killing Goku is part of his programming. Then 16 and Android 17 go off to find Goku, but not before telling Krillin that if anyone else wants to face them again, they would gladly accept a rematch. Android 18 then kisses Krillin before taking off. Krillin wonders if the androids are as bad as future Trunks feared, but he swiftly puts it aside and heals the others with the remaining sensu beans.
3 hours later.
As Krillin, Trunks and Gohan move Goku to Kame House, they receive a call from Bulma about a mysterious time machine that looks identical to Trunks's. When they go to investigate, they discover a strange exoskeleton, and it is then that Trunks realizes that this may be the reason history is playing out differently than he expected. I mean, yes, it is reasonable to think that, but also there are so many things that he done that would have altered the timeline that he just didn't even consider. But he is solely blaming this. Let's list a few things that he done that could have altered the timeline. He intervened to defeat both Frieza and King Cold. He revealed who he was to Goku and Piccolo. He gave Goku heart medicine, which is an item from a different timeline. And all of these would have a follow-on effect on the other characters' actions that would also have an effect on the timeline. Trunks is Bulma's kid, and I feel like he should be smarter than this. Strange disappearances started to happen to people in a town close to where Trunks and the others discovered the exoskeleton. Kami comes to the realization that Earth needs a stronger protector after witnessing the destruction the monster that had emerged from the exoskeleton has caused. Even Piccolo realizes this on his own, so he heads to Kami's lookout to rejoin with his other half.
Bio-android Fiend of the future.
That's fucking wrong.
When Piccolo gets to Kami's lookout, he lays forth his strategy to become stronger by merging in order to save Earth. Recognizing the critical nature of the circumstances and the need for an effective protector, Kami agrees.
Why are you gay?
Imbued with great power, Piccolo hunts down the mysterious monster and engages him in battle. The introduction of Cell in this game is just so underwhelming. There is just not enough build up to it. He's just standing there chilling. The monster reveals himself to be Cell, a bio-android sent from the future to absorb androids 17 and 18 and reach his perfect form. Dr. Gero experimented with various types of androids to determine which would be the most effective. He found limitations in models 19 and 20, while model 16 displayed a too gentle of nature. However, models 17 and 18 possessed too much free will due to their human origins and harbored resentment towards the Doctor for forcibly converting them into androids. And yes, I know technically that they are cyborgs, but I'm just going with the English translation, or dub, or whatever you call it. Despite their remarkable power, Gero anticipated their potential betrayal, leading to the creation of Cell. Cell's purpose was to utilize 17 and 18's abilities to enhance himself, making him unbeatable, including against formidable opponents like Goku. Despite the fact that Dr. Gero conceptualized Cell, the actual creation evolved into a two-part project, with Dr. Gero's supercomputer completing the final phase without anyone's knowledge, not even 17 or 18. In the main timeline, Trunks and Krillin discover Gero's hidden laboratory, destroying the embryo of Cell, which the game actually has you do right after this fight. However, the Cell that we're fighting right now hails from an alternate future where Trunks devised a method to defeat the android somehow. It isn't really explained how, but Trunks manages to do it. Trunks was going to go back and tell everyone of his victory. However, Cell intervenes, killing Trunks and commandeering the time machine, travelling back 1 year before the arrival of Mecha Frieza and his father on Earth. The reason for the time machine being set back an extra year remains unknown, leading to Cell's appearance in the present timeline. Did you get all that? Do you need clarification? After the fight, Cell catches Piccolo and the others off guard by using Solar Flare and makes his escape. I was gonna make a joke about how Cell just steals all his moves, but literally everyone has stolen Solar Flare at this point. In fact, I'm pretty sure that more of the Turtle School students know the move than those from the Crane School. Piccolo conveys his findings to Krillin and Trunks, who, like I just mentioned, return to Dr. Gero's laboratory to prevent Cell from being formed in this timeline. They uncover the blueprints for androids 17 and 18 while there. Krillin delivers the plans to Bulma, while Trunks goes to try and train with his father. Good luck with that. Father of the Year. Over the next few days, Piccolo and the others continue to look for Cell, but to no avail. Goku finally makes a full recovery, then quickly takes Gohan, Vegeta and Trunks to the hyperbolic time chamber to train and hopefully achieve a level beyond Super Saiyan. I know I just summed up a lot of events in like 2 sentences, but most of this is just you running from place to place watching cutscenes. Because of the game's size, not all the cutscenes are made equal, as many of them suffer from incredibly awful pacing, whether they are too fast paced or in most cases excessively slow. For example, in a scene where Tien is battling Nappa, he loses his arm and then Chiaotzu uses his self-destruct move, and it all happens in less than a minute, leaving no room for the scene to breathe. However, there are several scenes that last for far too long. The game will linger on characters for extensive lengths of time for no apparent reason, and there will be numerous unnecessary pauses between dialogue. When you consider how the dialogue works in this game, these pauses become even more puzzling. You can either manually scroll through the text boxes or use the autoplay feature, which causes the game to automatically play the text boxes. So the game should recognize when the character's lines are done, but it just hangs on nothing. And after a while, it gets really grating. This affects even some of the high quality cutscenes. I know it may be hard to tell from watching this retrospective because I have been editing them down for brevity. Pacing is an extremely vital component of storytelling, and Kakarot tends to fall short in this area. The game simultaneously gives characters no time to properly react to anything, while also taking too long to convey what is going on. Sometimes the story turns into an absolute drag, and all you want to do is mash through the text so you can get back to the gameplay. This imbalance in pacing can be frustrating for players who are eager to indulge in the gameplay and progress through the story. It's like, I'm trying to engage with what is going on, but it feels like the game is wasting my time. Cell continues his rampage across the land as Vegeta and Trunks train in the hyperbolic time chamber. Meanwhile, the other androids search for Goku at Kame House.
Cell's fearsome evolution.
Piccolo resolves to confront the androids, knowing that if either android 17 or 18 is killed, Cell will be unable to achieve his perfect form. He is able to go toe-to-toe with Android 17 because of the power boost he acquired from Kami. Piccolo's fusion is treated as a transformation in the game, therefore it is activated in the same way as Super Saiyan. Piccolo's power seems to be weaker than it should be. His current true Namekian fusion transformation only increases his damage by 40%, making him weaker than both Super Saiyan and Max Kaioken. But as we all know, when Piccolo gains power via Kami, he becomes considerably more powerful than a Super Saiyan. They did my man dirty. While fighting, Piccolo fails to notice Cell's approach. Thanks to the hundreds of thousands of people he has absorbed, Cell now possesses a great deal of power, which allows him to effortlessly defeat Android 17 and Piccolo. Android 16 then challenges Cell to allow the others a chance to escape. Seventeen, distracted by the fight, is ultimately absorbed by Cell, who then achieves his second form, Semi-Perfect Cell. Cell, now even more powerful, almost destroys Android 16 and pursues 18, but Tien stops him.
Neo Tri-Beam! Ha! God, my fucking knee! What are you doing? Get out of here! Ha! 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 Ow!
Tien! That's enough! You must stop this now! You're gonna die if you keep firing tri-beams, Tien! Give up before it's too late and get out of there!
Just as Cell is about to finish off Tien, Goku arrives via instant transmission to save him and Piccolo. Where Kakarot really shines in the presentation side is the spectacular recreations of some of the most iconic Dragon Ball Z moments. Holy moly, they look amazing. They are just as good, or in some cases better, than in the anime. Some of the visual effects are just stunning. I don't know what else to say. They look amazing. Before teleporting away, Goku tells Cell that he'll be back later to fight him. The prospect of a future showdown piques Cell's interest, and he keeps hunting for Android 18 in his quest to achieve his perfect form. As Goku, Piccolo and Tien grow increasingly despondent after having seen Cell's abnormal strength, Vegetables and Trunk emerge from the hyperbolic time chamber. Vegetables. Yep, that's what it says. Vegeta and Trunks emerge from the hyperbolic time chamber. Goku then takes Gohan into the chamber, eager to begin his training and push him past his limits.
Training to surpass Super Saiyan.
Meanwhile, Vegeta and Trunks confront Cell in his search for Android 18.
Take a good long look, Cell. I'm going to beat that stupid grin right off that annoying face of yours.
Oh no!
Vegeta's confidence proves to be well placed as he is able to overpower Cell with ease. Growing ever more disappointed that his opponent is hardly a challenge, Cell touts that he would be more than a challenge for the Saiyan if he could achieve his perfect form, and Vegeta, being the proud warrior he is, allows Cell to do just that, much to the dismay of Trunks. I know that it is in a Saiyan's nature to want a challenging fight, but man does this get frustrating to watch. Even Goku is guilty of this. Sometimes he puts his desires for a fight before his friends and family, and that really rubs me the wrong way. I think I take more offense to it when Goku does it than when Vegeta does, because at this point in the story, Vegeta is still a bit of a dickhead, but I expect better from Goku. But still, watching this play out with Vegeta is so frustrating, and you really do empathize with Trunks at this moment. At least the story does acknowledge this lapse in judgment, as Vegeta is punished severely for it. As androids 16 and 18 view the fight from their hiding spot, Krillin approaches them with an emergency shutdown controller in his hand that Bulma had created from the blueprints. He ultimately cannot bring himself to press the button, and instead destroys the device and tells the androids to run. Unfortunately, Cell spots the group, and after using Solar Flare to blind them, rushes in and successfully absorbs Android 18. In doing so, Cell finally achieves his perfect form.
P is for
Frippery!
Achieving perfection.
With his newfound power, Cell becomes virtually unstoppable, overwhelming the remaining Z fighters with his incredible strength and speed. The consequences of Vegeta's lapse in judgment become painfully clear as they struggle to defend themselves against Cell's devastating attacks. With his proud father now unconscious, Trunks is able to unleash the power he had hidden from him and fight Cell. But this all happens off screen because the devs ran out of time to include Trunks' grade 3 Super Saiyan. I'm not kidding, it literally cuts to black, and then Trunks is defeated. What happened? It kind of takes away from the relationship that Trunks has with Vegeta. It showed that, yeah, Vegeta is a bit of a dick, but he does know what he's doing when it comes to fighting, and Trunks did come to a bit of a realization due to the failure here, but the game skips over it. I guess they wanted to use the time to focus more on Kakarot, as the game is called Kakarot and he is the main character, even though he's never here. Prepared to die, Trunks reveals that Goku is currently training in the hopes of defeating Cell. This catches Cell's attention, and since he's eager to take on Goku, he decides to organize a special tournament in 10 days that he names the Cell Games. Cell breaks into a TV station and takes over the broadcast to announce the competition, sending everyone into a state of despair. Meanwhile, Goku and Gohan finally leave the hypertonic time chamber. Goku and Gohan finally leave the hyperbolic time chamber with full control over the Super Saiyan transformation. Once they learn of the Cell Games, Goku opts out of another session in the chamber to instead train on the surface. The hyperbolic time chamber puts a lot of strain on the body and mind, and Goku thinks it would be best to use the remaining 9 days to rest up. Very much in line with the Turtle School's philosophy of training. Learn well, learn well, play well, eat well, and rest well. Or is it sleep well? It's rest well. Speaking of the Turtle School, all the way back in the Saiyan Saga, Master Roshi will give you a training manual. It is filled with simple activities that, when completed, Roshi will reward you with a variety of items. Most of these you will complete without even trying, as they follow the training method of the Turtle School, using everyday activities as training. By incorporating these tasks into your daily routine, you can improve your physical strength and endurance and discipline without even realizing it. Master Roshi believes that the true strength comes from mastering the basics and finding balance in all aspects of life. So while resting up may seem counterintuitive to some, Goku understands the importance of taking care of his body and mind before facing any new challenges. This section of the game acts as a bit of a reprieve for the player, and there are plenty of opportunities for you to explore the world and complete side stories. It is also at this point that the game takes the opportunity to expand on the series' lore. There is a sub-story that explains the origins of the Beastmen. Now, I never really cared, or I guess questioned, the existence of Beastmen. It was kind of just like accepted on face value that some people look like animals for some reason, and that was kind of it. But in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the Beastmen are actually the result of a drug that makes humans look like animals. The reason why people take this drug is because it is fashionable. What the fuck? During the days before the Cell Games, the game really emphasizes that Chi-Chi and Goku spent some alone time together. Like, it is making sure that you know that they had some alone time together. A man, a woman, alone, together. Anyway, while Goku and Chi-Chi are off fucking, Gohan spends some time at Capsule Court helping Bulma out. It is here that Gohan and Android 16 have a few interactions with each other. I think these added scenes are a great inclusion. These added scenes not only establish a relationship between Gohan and Android 16, but also lay the foundation for their future interactions. This ensures that when their connection becomes crucial later on in the series, it feels more organic and meaningful rather than kind of just being out of nowhere. 16 is a reserved and brawny android created by Dr. Gero. He was designed to eliminate Goku, but Dr. Gero considered him a failure due to his aversion to violence. Dr. Gero's son Gibo was a vicious elite soldier in the Red Ribbon Army called Gold. His likeness served as the inspiration for Android 16, who is a completely synthetic android. Despite his failure to meet Dr. Gero's expectations, Android 16 possesses a unique sense of compassion and respect for life, which sets them apart from the other androids. Both Android 16 and Gohan struggle with the pressure of living up to their father's expectations. They both possess a deep aversion to violence, which sets them apart from their fathers. Despite their initial reluctance, they find solace in each other's company and form a meaningful connections based on their shared values. Values are important, everyone. You need to find someone with the same values. This is not a dating advice. I was curious to see if Kakarot would be following the anime or the manga canon when I first started playing, but it turns out that it kinda has a canon all of its own. As an example, Android 16 has a far better grasp of his past. He may have been aware of it in the manga and anime, but in Kakarot he brings it up a couple of times, making this Android 16 align more with the Android 16 and Dragon Ball Fighters. I'm pretty sure it's the same canon. I feel like the game, they try to set up the games as like their own canon, kind of like the movies. I don't know. I'm making stuff up, but with Kami now inside with Kami now inside Piccolo, that doesn't even sound any better than what I just did. With Kami now inside Piccolo, Earth is not only without a guardian, but there are also no Dragon Balls. Goku travels to the new planet Namek to find a guardian to create Dragon Balls for Earth. Elder Mori nominates Dende, who then becomes the new guardian. He's able to make the Dragon Balls more powerful, as instead of granting one wish, they are now able to grant two. The Dragon Balls aren't just collected as part of the main story, they can also be collected during certain free roaming points, like the intermissions. Thanks to the radar, they are not hard to find at all. The minimap in the corner is actually the Dragon Radar, so they will show up on the map. When collecting all 7, you have a few wishes to pick from. The basic wishes that are always available are getting rare items, lots of Zenny, or lots of orbs, but there are also one-time wishes. These wishes will bring back past opponents such as Raditz, Nappa, Zarbon, and so on. They can only be fought once, and they have to be fought with a certain character, and they will always be at a set level, which is a bit disappointing. They will always be stronger than when they were first faced, but when you are playing through the main story, you can't just switch characters whenever you want. So you might not be able to fight them till way later on, and you'll be way too over leveled for them to be much of a challenge. Great idea, but poor execution. So the Dragon Ball rewards aren't all that great, but they are still worth collecting because they're just so easy to. So you might as well. I mean, you're already there, just pick it up. You lazy bastard. Plus, by the end of the saga, the Dragon Balls will be powered up once again and will grant 3 wishes, making it one of the best ways to get a bunch of resources. Also, you don't need to wait a year between wishes. Bulma will let you know when the balls are restored. Oh yeah, and that is one of the things that is kind of gimmicky but also kind of cool too. Characters will contact you through telepathy, but the voice will come through the speakers in the controller rather than through the TV, at least in the PS5 version. I'm not sure how it works in the PC or Xbox version. It actually gave me the fright the first time it happened. I was like, what the hell, where's that noise coming from? The day of the Cell Games have finally arrived.
The Cell Games begin.
Among those present at the Cell Games are Goku, the remaining Z Fighters, a repaired Android 16, and Mr. Satan, the World Martial Arts Champion. He has also brought a film crew with him, so the whole world can see his victory over Cell. Cell quickly deals with Mr. Satan's antics, and then announces that the games have begun.
Well, I guess I'll go first if that's okay.
I don't give a fuck.
For the main story events, cutscenes are almost always voiced, but for side missions it will be text box only. You have the option between the Japanese or English voice cast. As usual, I played with the English dub, and overall the voice performances were very good. It probably helps that the voice cast are so familiar with the source material at this point that they probably have a fairly good idea as to what is going on in each given scene, which has been a bit of an issue in other Dragon Ball Z games. The lip syncing, however, is terrible and also non-existent. It does not match up at all, but I much prefer having the English lines sound more natural than them trying to match up with the lip flaps. The only times that it really distracted from the scenes for me is when the characters will be talking but their mouths aren't moving at all. Some games do go to the effort to reanimating the mouths for other languages, and while I appreciate it, I do not expect it, and I am completely fine with the lips being slightly out of sync. Even though they are about equal in strength and put on a great show, Goku forfeits the match. Not only does Goku's abrupt admission of loss startle Cell and the others, but so does his declaration that his son Gohan will fight next and that no one else can defeat Cell. Still uncertain of himself, Gohan fights Cell, but his resolve to stay away from bloodshed keeps him from channeling his anger and by extension his full potential. It is clear that Goku expected too much as Cell tries to crush Gohan. Piccolo points out that he's not a fighter like him. He explains that in this moment, Gohan isn't getting angry, but rather wondering why his father isn't saving him. Goku's belief in Gohan's hidden potential stems from his own experiences, as he too had surpassed his limits in the past. Those two words in a sentence together makes sense, but sounds strange to say. However, the weight of Goku's expectations now rests heavily on Gohan's young shoulders, leaving him torn between his father's faith and his self-doubt. My interpretation of Gohan's character isn't that he hates fighting, but he just needs a really good reason to do so. Whereas Goku is just obsessed with fighting. It's no secret that Akira Toriyama was trying to set up Gohan to take over as the world's protector, just as Goku did from Master Roshi all those years ago. But as Gohan developed as a character, he found out, along with the audience, that Gohan is very different from that of his father, and that in itself is a great lesson. You are yourself before you are anyone's son, or daughter, or both. Android 16 tries to take Cell by surprise by self-destructing, but his bombs had been removed by Bulma and ends up in a heap of trash. From his body, Cell releases Cell Juniors, and they begin to attack the other fighters viciously in an effort to enrage Gohan and unleash his power. Goku and the others are brutalized by the Cell Juniors. As he watches his companions suffer, Gohan is gripped by a sense of shock and powerlessness. Overall, the story mode is one of the best the series has seen, and the game surprisingly doesn't only focus on the big spectacle moments, and gives quite a bit of attention to the smaller interactions between characters. This is why Kakarot is one of the best retellings of the Dragon Ball Z story. There is no way near the amount of nuance you can get from reading the manga or watching the anime, but the broad strokes are there, and even a little bit of extra detail in some cases. It is easy to understand the main cast's motivation and quirks, even for those who are not familiar with the source material. At this moment, Mr. Satan uncovered the head of Android 16, which surprisingly could still speak. Android 16 implores Mr. Satan to bring him close to Gohan, even if it meant throwing him to the ground for the benefit of humanity. In spite of his fears, Mr. Satan agreed to do it, and the head of Android 16 fell between Gohan and Cell.
Gohan. It is not a sin to fight for what is right. Give in to your anger. Let it flow through you. There's no need to hold it in any longer. The plants and animals that I love. Please protect them. I'm counting on you.
You've prattled on long enough. You factory defect.
you've done!
Gohan uses his newfound power to quickly exterminate the Cell Juniors and begins to toy with Cell. Super Saiyan 2 is activated the same way as the other transformations. It increases the character's stats by 100%, but it does drain Ki faster than a regular Super Saiyan. But you can recharge Ki so easily that it is worth the trade-off. Plus Super Saiyan 2 is the coolest Super Saiyan transformation. The power of Super Saiyan 2 allows Gohan to surpass his previous limits and unleash a devastating attack on Cell. Gohan's confidence grows and he lets his ego get the best of him, a flaw that seems to be common among Saiyans. Gohan hits Cell hard, causing him to spew up Android 18 and revert back to his second form. Frustrated, Cell becomes extremely obese and he activates a self-destruct system within himself, starting the countdown to the end of the world.
Later, you guys.
Goku makes the ultimate sacrifice by using instant transmission to take himself and Cell to King Kai's world, where Cell eventually explodes. Unfortunately, Cell's core survives the blast, and after reconstructing, Cell returns to Earth. He regenerated in his perfect form because his cells maintain the memories of it. Also, he became a lot stronger thanks to the Saiyan cells inside him, which have significantly increased his power after a near-death experience. Cell launches a death beam that impales and kills Trunks. Vegeta is taken aback as he watches Cell kill his son, but his shock swiftly changes to anger as he goes on the assault. Vegeta attacks Cell viciously and batters him with a barrage of energy blasts. Cell, on the other hand, delivers one strike to Vegeta that knocks him out and nearly kills him. Cell is about to finish him off before Gohan intervenes. For me, Kakarot is such a mixed bag when it comes to the presentation. It has some of the highest highs but the lowest lows. When starting up the game, there is an awesome opening sequence using the iconic Shala Head Shala, but then the rest of the soundtrack is really underwhelming to the point where I can't even remember most of the tracks. There's the title screen theme that is pretty good, and the prologue music is also decent, but other than that, very forgettable. They play the same tracks over and over again and my brain just learned to drown them out. The biggest misstep that the soundtrack makes is the way that it is utilised within the cutscenes. Sometimes there's no music at all, and other times it's very quiet and doesn't really align with what is going on. Music is one of the best ways to invoke certain emotions and add to the atmosphere, and they just don't take advantage of this at all. I think the misuse of music also contributes to the terrible pacing that can be felt throughout the game's cutscenes. The menus are beautiful. The menus look like the developers are like, you know, Persona 5's menus? Let's make UI like that. And then they did it, and it looks great. I only wish there were more unique character artwork in the menus, because what they have is fantastic and I would have liked to have seen more. But then you have the character stats screen where the character models are completely overexposed. Why is the lighting on the characters like this? It's not like this anywhere else. It's such a weird oversight. It just feels like so much of this game is so close to being brilliant, but it just can't quite get there. There is always a little quirk that brings the experience down or distracts from being able to fully enjoy the game. Gohan tries to fight Cell, but he grows increasingly despondent as he begins to lose.
I'm sorry, Dad. Everyone. I didn't have what it takes to beat Cell. I wanted to punish Cell for what he did, but I couldn't. Please, forgive me!
Gohan! What are you doing? Don't give up!
Dad!
Pour every ounce of power you've got into that Kamehameha, just like Cell's doing! You can do this, Gohan! You have the power!
But I can only use one arm, and I'm not even at full power!
You'll be fine. You can still win! Believe in yourself, Gohan. Release it! Release everything! Give him all you've got! Show me, Gohan! Show me our combined power!
I will!
This is the end for you, Gohan! actually did it!
Way to go, Gohan.
Cell is finally defeated, and Mr. Satan is quick to take credit for it. He deceives the entire world by claiming victory over Cell on live TV. The heroes travel to Kami's lookout, where Dende heals Gohan and Android 18. Cell was gone, but so was Goku. The Z Fighters attempt to wish him back after wishing back all of Cell's victims, including Trunks, but were unable to revive Goku because he had already been wished back to life, and Shenron cannot revive a person more than once. However, Goku chose to remain in the other world after explaining that he appears to attract evil people and that it would be better for the Earth to live in peace without him. He added that Gohan has greatly surpassed him at this point, so there would be no need to be concerned if another threat arose. Krillin's second wish was for the androids to be wished back into people, but Shenron couldn't grant the wish, so instead Krillin wished for the bombs inside each of them to be removed, which Shenron could do with ease.
You idiot!
Android 18, who had been hiding, revealed herself and got angry at Krillin for thinking that would soften her feelings for any of them, and partially out of Krillin mistaking Android 17 for her boyfriend instead of her twin brother. She took off, but not before saying,
Later.
He's in there. Piccolo intends to stay at Kami's lookout to train Dende to be a worthy guardian of Earth, and Gohan promises to pay him a visit every now and again. As everyone said their goodbyes and parted ways, Yamcha informs Trunks of what Vegeta had done for him. Trunks became proud of his father for the first time after hearing this. Trunks then returns to the future, well prepared to battle the androids in his own time. Usually this would be where the Cell Saga ends, but Kakarot uses this opportunity to further link this arc with the next. Despite initially declaring that he would never fight again after the Cell games, Vegeta's resolve wavers in the Buu Saga. The loss of his rival temporarily dampens his fighting spirit, but when Gohan approaches him and questions his commitment to training, Vegeta's determination is reignited. Recognizing that Gohan may not be ready to fill Goku's shoes, Vegeta ultimately decides to continue fighting. Meanwhile, there was an optional quest with Krillin and Android 18. In this subplot, Krillin and 18's interactions showcase their budding relationship. This lighthearted diversion provides a refreshing contrast to the intensity of the main plot, while still maintaining the overall narrative flow. Some may object to Kakarot diverting from the series canon, but I believe it works well in the game's framework. Plus, the changes made do not overwrite the original.
Thanks to Gohan and his father, the planet was freed from Cell's evil clutches. The people of Earth were finally able to live in peace once again. However, during times of peace, people have a tendency to foolishly grow complacent. Such is the fate of mankind. Next time on Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Oh.